What's meant to be? We got Maggie Szabo in the studio tonight, and we are playing our game, Same Old Song and Dance, and we're drinking Magg-aritas tonight on It's Complicated.
You're listening to It's Complicated with your hosts Jennifer Golden and Lauren Leonelli, coming to you live from the AfterBuzz TV studios in Los Angeles, California.
Hey everybody, welcome back for another episode of It's Complicated.
The struggle is real when you're dating in this city.
Oh, it is. I'm Jen, guys.
And I'm Lauren.
And tonight we are discussing What's Meant to Be with Canadian singer-songwriter Maggie Szabo.
That's right. Maggie has been winning over audiences worldwide with her stunningly soulful vocals and empowering pop anthems. We love those. Hailing from a small town in Ontario, Maggie is now an accomplished musician living right here in good old LA and is using her music to conquer social injustice.
I mean, if you don't use your powers for good, I don't know what people are doing. This is amazing.
either.
And her successes to date include over 13 million views on YouTube, extensive media
Jeez.
coverage from just some people like Perez Hilton, Yahoo Music, Pop Crush, and the Huffington Post guys, as well as being featured on multiple airline playlists and numerous notable film and TV placements. She recently was the featured vocalist on the album for German electronic DJ Schiller.
Yeah.
Who has so far sold just 7 million albums worldwide.
It's like really not that big of a deal.
Just 7 million.
So, you guys, she is one of the most sought-after singer-songwriter vocalists, and her latest work was written in some of the most beautiful and exotic places on earth, like Greece, Amsterdam, London, and Thailand. Welcome to the studio, Maggie!
What's
Yay!
up?
Hi!
Girls, how are you?
Good. How are
we
you?
are doing great.
I'm good.
Yay!
I'm
We are
good.
so excited that you're here.
Yes, and before we get into everything we're getting into tonight,
Getting into it.
we are going to need a drink.
Yeah.
Yeah,
love
so
that idea.
our nightcap tonight is inspired by you. It's the Magg-arita because you like skinny margaritas and your name is Maggie. So there you
Yes.
go, guys. It's
Cheers.
clever and another reason to drink.
And it's really good. We made it fresh, guys. It's literally lime juice. We added La Croix because, like, a little bubble was nice.
And
It
I
actually-
love that you say that properly, by the way.
Thank you. It is not
Absolutely.
LaCroix. I don't care what the fucking website says.
No, you just
We
got
need
you
to
lost our
start
sponsorship.
awareness about the proper pronunciation of that drink.
Like starting with the company itself because they tell people the wrong thing.
They say, and they're like, no, but that's what the website says. I'm like, but they're from, like, the fucking Midwest. The French say La Croix.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
We should revoke their French rights.
Well, I am glad that we poured this in your skinny marg that we made
too.
special for you because
with no citrus tequila.
and also when you, yes, and we put no citrus tequila in it, which is like our favorite.
love
And tequila, and a little agave. And
That's it.
that's how you do it. And tequila is difficult for me, but this is not.
Makes it like bearable, right?
It's
Oh,
really
yeah.
good. And also, when you
delicious.
call it La Croix, then you can call them La Cocktails. If you say LaCroix, you can't say a LaCroix tail.
I'm
That's
stealing
not
that.
right.
Yeah, there
So
you go. You
you're
learn something
welcome,
new every day.
everyone.
Yes.
Yeah. And also, now that we have this drink, we need to talk. Yeah, isn't that comforting? We're like,
Absolutely.
come into the studio, we need to talk.
It's
Yeah.
like girl talk.
We
you
just
know?
made you uncomfortable. But listen, this is actually a part of the show where our listeners, they confront us with weekly questions
Okay.
and we try to help them solve their issues. And this week, the question comes from Jessica. We just want you to help us help her.
Okay.
She is in San Diego and she asks, how do you get out of a bad date?
Like, okay, I feel like we need to pose this from two sides. Like, if you've
Yeah.
got one scheduled and you like don't want to go, that's one side. And then also, if you're physically
On
it
the date.
and you want to like hit the eject button, how do you eject?
Okay, first of all, if you're not even on the date yet, I just say cancel and say you started dating someone else and like, it became more serious really quickly and you just don't feel comfortable like
Totally.
going on dates because I think that's respectful.
Yeah.
And it's also just a really great excuse.
Yeah.
Totally, but you also probably shouldn't do it by calling them and leaving that message on their voicemail.
Which may or may not have happened to one of us recently.
To me.
Did you do that exact same thing?
No, someone did it to me, and I was like, that's odd and totally fine, but why leave this on my voicemail for me to play?
Oh,
there
yeah,
was
never
a-
leave a
yeah.
voicemail.
I know, and it
Yeah.
was like stumbling over the truth. which may or may, I don't know. I mean, listen.
I mean, I think yeah.
That's
It
a
was
good
like,
lesson, though. Never leave a voicemail.
Yeah,
No.
all via text. I feel like you should for sure, like, yes, if you're feeling like you don't want to go on the date for some reason, something happens in between planning the date and going on the date, something happens that makes you feel gross, don't waste your time. But the shitty thing is if you're, I've been on a date before where you're like, you try not to judge, but like a couple minutes in, you're like, oh, fuck.
Not feeling it.
No. And then it only gets worse. Sometimes you can surprise yourself like, okay, this conversation is not that bad, whatever. But like then it just gets worse and you're like, what? Now I am on a fucking 2-hour interview.
and like, do you have your friend call you like and fake an emergency, or like how do you get out of it? Okay, so I think we need to like figure this
We've
out.
done that before. I mean, everyone has.
I mean,
feel
I
like.
think
I've
that's
never
good...
left a date, and I want to.
You have.
When?
I called you and got you out of a date by saying that Buckley was barking and you had to go save him.
Okay,
Oh
you
my
definitely did that.
goodness.
Our friend's dog.
That's
Was that
true.
real, though?
Yeah.
Yes.
No, wait. The dog was doing nothing, but this did happen. I remember now. Thank you for reminding me. I black these things out. I'm like, that was traumatic.
So we have done that before.
I went to like a concert or some event with this guy, and it was so awful. And I was like, I happened to actually be dog sitting the dog, but I like told Lauren to pretend she was the neighbor downstairs and said that it, like Buckley was like obviously throwing up upstairs. She heard all this noise. It was so dramatic. I'm
Yes.
like, oh,
So
I
I
have to
feel
leave.
like, what did you tell the guy?
That I had to leave. It was so urgent.
And
It's
how
my
was
friend's
his reaction?
dog.
Did he know?
I
Yeah.
don't know if he knew because he checked in with me later to see how the dog was. But
Oh.
I mean, listen, if somebody's over explaining anything, they're clearly not. That's not true.
Yeah.
Like they're like going above and beyond to make
But-
the story sound legit.
But like, okay, you're on the date, you're sitting there one-on-one, nobody's saving you, nobody's sending you a text. You have to get out of this date. Like you're like, I have to do this. I've done this 700 times. I don't want to waste any more time. I can't even stay around for the free glass of wine. Like, what do you do? If that's the case, and this Jessica wants to know, like, what do I do if I'm on the date? What would you say?
I don't know if I would just like keep drinking until like it didn't matter anymore. or just like suffer through it. But also like if I've never met the person or like really know them, I would feel hesitant to like go out for like a full length dinner with them.
True.
Because I don't know, like you just don't know if you're gonna like that person.
That's a good point.
That's a
long
commitment.
commitment. Go
So
for like a half an hour coffee.
If you're unsure about the date for whatever reason, then yeah, make sure that this first date.
I would just stick it out and just
Yeah.
like learn your lesson, and then you'll never book another dinner with someone you don't know again.
But what if
call.
it comes up again? Because some people have it come up regularly.
Listen, I say like, you know what? In the moment, like you are allowed to be like, you know what? Like I'm just feeling like I need to be honest with you. I just don't. This is not something that I'm feeling or whatever you want to use to say. I think at the end of the day, if you're honest, you can't really blame
Yeah.
somebody. So
I
if you
100%
feel the
agree.
urge to like get up and go, then you need to just say what you're doing,
Yeah.
but just be gracious about it. Try to be diplomatic. Try and use your fucking conversation skills and don't just be like, I need to go, unless of course there's like something horrible happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I feel very conflicted about all these things because I've been in situations where I'm like, I literally cannot spend one more second with you.
But it's hard to just like be honest with someone. Like I
Right.
totally agree. Honesty
Yeah.
is the best policy. And I would be like, yeah, that's definitely the right decision.
Right.
But if I was in that position, I think I would be so scared.
Yes.
And like I
Yes.
would not have the balls to just be like, you know what, like I don't like you.
Yeah.
And just like
Yeah.
Okay, but what
Something
about
that
this?
you do.
Here's devil's advocate. You're sitting across from somebody, and this person's like paying for you for this night.
Well,
like,
that's-
not like for your services, but like they're
Yeah.
paying for your dinner
Or that.
or that. So, like, I will give myself as an example because I throw myself into this fire all the time. I went on a date with a guy. He came all the way from like Santa Monica to pick me up.
oh,
All
jeez.
the way, guys.
Like, yeah, and so we went to dinner at a restaurant nearby my house, and so I felt like, well, he just came all this way for me.
Yeah.
Like, let me just get. The minute I
Yeah.
even saw him outside of the car, I was like, I know this is not right, and it's not because I'm like super judgmental, but I could tell.
You just could feel
that
it.
guy was not going to be my guy. But I was like, all right, I wish I could have just turned around and walked back in my house. But like,
Could you imagine if you're like, bye?
Yeah.
thank you, but oh shit, I'd rather get hit by a car right now. But like, you know, so I go on this date, and I was thinking to myself the whole way through, I'm like, okay, well, I'm obviously trapped now on this date. Okay, well, I'm gonna have good food. Like, maybe this will be a learning experience for me. I'll practice
Like
my
you said, yeah.
conversational
Yeah.
skills. Maybe I'll just meet somebody new who will be cool. I don't know.
Be friends.
Right, but like, what I did use that date as, and I think it actually is cool because I hold myself accountable now having this show. I'm like, well, if I tell other people to do this, I should do it too. He asked me the one question that's the kiss of death for me, which is, how is the app we met on treating you?
Yeah.
Why
like,
does
how's
anyone
Tinder
ask that?
treating?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll tell you his answer,
such
and then
an
I'll tell you
odd
my answer.
question.
And I wanted to hit the eject button, but instead I texted my friend who was a server there, and I said, "Please give me food poisoning." He didn't, and I had to stay. So anyway, the point is,
It's another good plan. Go to a place where your friend's serving.
You're like, I
Also-
need to get out of this date. Please give me
no,
food
I
poisoning.
wrote that, and he also wrote me back. I see this guy here twice a week. I mean, twice a month with a different girl every time. So I was like,
Well,
wow.
He's dating. So,
So
yeah.
anyway, I took it upon myself to educate him. So he says this to me, and I say, okay, I need to know what you
What are you
wanted to
trying to
hear
get out of that?
from that question. Like,
Yeah.
what did you think I was going to say in response to you when you asked me how the dating app that we met on is treating me?
I'm like, what are you going to learn about my personality by asking you that dumb question?
What I learned about him and now everybody else is that they don't understand that question has a very different, like it has, you're asking for me to tell you I had a great date last night. I have 2 more dates lined up next week. Everybody's buying me free dinner and I had a one night stand. Like, I said that to him. I go, did you want to hear that?
Did you actually say that?
Yeah.
Well, what? How are you
Yes.
supposed to answer?
I like
Yeah,
that.
I said that, and I was like, you realize that's the question you're
Yeah,
asking
yeah,
me.
being honest.
And he's like, oh my God, he like looked like he was gonna cry and go under the table, or maybe send me home, but no, he didn't. Wanted to keep talking.
You're like, I tried to make him hate me.
No,
I tried
was
to
like-
get food poisoning.
No, but what he said was the real thing I wanted to hear was dating horror stories. I'm like, do you not know that you could just ask that?
That's like, yeah.
yeah.
Help.
Be straight up about the question.
Like, or just
Right.
ask an interesting question, like, what's the worst date you've ever been on?
Right. Like or call it out. Say, we're obviously on this thing called a dating app. We met that way. I want to hear horror stories. Like, what do you got? What's the worst one you got?
Yeah, like, try and make it funny. Don't talk about,
Yeah.
like...
Don't
So-
ask me how it's treating me. Now it's clearly treating me horribly
Also,
because I found
how
you.
is it treating you? Like, well, it's treating me like every
It's
other
treating me
fucking
to dinner
app.
is what it's treating
Yeah,
me.
like, I'm here.
Wait,
so
I'm kind of curious. What is the worst dating experience?
maybe that one.
No, a couple days before that, some guy took me to Restoration Hardware to sit on a couch.
Oh, yeah.
And then
What?
snapped at me to carry his bag around. I'm like,
That was his first date?
yeah, I thought it couldn't get worse. And then this sushi guy was pretty terrible too. And then I was like, I'm never
What
dating
is
again.
up
And then I
with
went on another date.
guys? Why do they
know.
think that's like a good idea?
I don't think they
I don't know.
what
Just
to
don't think
think.
about
Jessica in San Diego, if you are on a date and you can't fucking take it and you don't want to get food poisoning, I suggest you just try your best to be diplomatic
Yeah,
and be honest.
I agree.
And if you feel any weirdness before the date, don't go.
Don't
Yeah.
go. But also
Trust
another
your gut. What's meant to be is meant to be. Like
maybe that person is not meant to be with you, or you're not meant to be on that date, or maybe you are. But also a good trick is to make dates on a weeknight because you have it out because it's a school night.
Oh, yeah.
So then you don't get stuck on the 3-hour dinner or
Yeah.
whatever.
or
it is.
like a coffee date, like Maggie said. That's
Yeah.
good. Something shorter. That's not a like time commitment. And you guys do not forget to follow us on all the socials. The Complicated Show, where you can ask us questions and we will answer on air, and it'll be real fun. And we will not give you food poisoning.
no, unless you want it, like I did.
I mean, sometimes
still
you
didn't
want
get it.
the
Still
heart
work.
wants what it wants.
It was food poisoning. Should have been meant to be for me.
Like
that
the date
day.
was so good, she wanted fucking food poisoning. Good job, motherfucker.
I mean, honestly, I don't know if he's listening to the show because he
my
did
God.
at some point, but like, it's just what I think is now that we have to be accountable. So if something bothers us and we all
Yes.
complain about these things on dating apps or we complain about meeting people and whatever it is, we should actually start changing the game.
Yeah, instead
So
of just complaining.
In the
about it.
moment, she
Right.
did that. You did that, which is good. You're like,
Yeah.
listen,
Yeah,
dude.
it was uncomfortable, so
Yeah,
uncomfortable.
yeah.
Let me tell you, to school him in person. But now I kind of want to take it one step further and say, like, listen, I want to just have respect for you, and like, if you're paying for this date, like, I don't want to make you have to like spend all this money on me. Like, I'm
Yeah.
just letting you know, like, I really just don't feel anything here. So like, you can wrap it up right now, or we can keep having dinner. Whatever.
See,
Yeah.
what's wrong with that? You
It's
just
uncomfortable
said it
to say, but I
perfectly.
said it to
know, but you're also
you
uncomfortable
guys.
sitting there. I get
Yeah.
it.
I'm
You're
gonna do it
also-
though next time.
I sent a text to a
like
guy
it.
Thanks.
on a dating app a long ass time ago, and it was one of those dates that we just talked about. I went on it from the very fucking first second. I was like, I do not want to be here. I was also feeling weird about going before I even went. I drove somewhere in
Was
like
it the super old guy?
no,
Oh,
no,
oh,
I don't know who that is.
oh.
I don't know who that is. So many. I just anyway. This is a long time
Somebody
ago.
set you up with the
I feel
super old
like
guy.
this is like before I even knew you.
There was not life
there
before
was
that.
not life before, but
silly.
pretend there was.
No.
And then he asked me out again, and I was like, dude, I can't, I have to. I was driving in the car with my girlfriend, Casey, and she's like, just be honest. And I said in a text message, and it was scary in the text message. I didn't even have to say it, but I said like whatever, something like to what you said. And he texted me back right away like, thank you so much for being honest. I totally respect that. Like, have a great, good luck, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Done. But yeah, I mean, even sending the text was uncomfortable. So yeah, saying it, and listen, it's going to be uncomfortable, guys, but you can be uncomfortable on the date, or you can just be uncomfortable and like, lesson learned.
Lesson
And that's why
learned.
online dating is hard, because you don't have the chance to like, meet them before, like if you'd run into them at the grocery store, or like it was a friend of a friend and you kind of knew them. Like, it's so much more difficult online dating because you've never met that person in real life before.
Yeah.
Yep.
Do you think guys are less inclined to just like go up to a girl and ask them out when they see them in person, because now they're more reliant on online dating?
Yes.
I think for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're lazy and they're scared.
Well,
I've been
yeah.
told by like very attractive people before, men, that they are terrified of going up to women in person because they don't know if they're single, in a relationship, hate them, love them. There's so many things that they
Yeah.
don't know anymore, because it's not like there are singles bars like
Yeah.
there used to be.
Well,
so
but
when you're on an app, you know that person's
Yeah.
single. At
Yeah.
least you hope
Yeah.
they're.
Wow.
But I mean, it's not a big deal if they're not single. It's not like that's anything to be embarrassed about.
They don't like being rejected.
Yeah. I mean, I have heard a lot of guys be like, there's a lot of things we're responsible for. Then they follow it up with usually like, so just tell us what you want.
Yeah.
Like, just tell us what to do, because we have to do all these other things and it's like overwhelming. But yeah, I mean, I could see that
Yeah.
would be, whatever. But I also think like, as a guy, and a lot of women are told this, we all tell each other this. I think it's probably more commonly used in the female terminology than male. Maybe I'm wrong, but trust your gut,
Yes.
right? So like, for a guy, it's the same thing. Like if you see a girl across the bar and she looks like I know this sounds weird, but like sometimes people look available and sometimes
Yeah.
they don't. She's
She's,
like
like, looking
closed
at
off, or
you.
exactly. That's an invitation to trust your gut and go for it. Like we all have to take risks, right? So like basically we are trying to figure out today, like there's not a surefire answer here, but like how do you know if something is meant to be? Trusting your gut will be one of the things, but it's
Yeah.
like, when you first meet somebody, there's a lot of things to consider. It's really overwhelming, like how it's important to be in the moment, to read the chemistry, but then it's also important to like
Yeah.
pay attention to what they're saying, so you can think about like future things, right? So you're like,
Totally.
am I in the moment, or are I thinking about the future? Like,
It's
like
a lot. You have to literally like be
And
objective watching
yeah.
yourself on a
you,
date.
and you want to
Absolutely.
like not. You want to pay attention to what they're doing, but you don't want to like overjudge. So like, how do we keep it less complicated? What are like some tips and tricks that we have up our sleeve that we think, like based on our, expertise
Oh man.
of thousands of hours of talking about this, like how we figure out what's meant to be, or basically like,
Well, let's define the term.
Yeah,
What's
let's define
meant
it.
to be?
Yeah,
What is
yeah.
it to you?
Man, I don't know. What's meant to be, I think nobody really knows, because what's meant to be right now could not be meant to be in 5 years.
True.
But it doesn't mean, say you're in a relationship, like it could be great now. And I do feel like sometimes people are meant to be for the next 10 years. And when people change, they might no longer fit anymore.
Good point.
And I think that 10 years might be meant to be, and it wasn't a mistake that you were with that person, but in 10 years it's not meant to be anymore, and I think that's fine. And I think it always changes, and I don't think it's as simple as we want it to be.
yeah.
It's complicated.
It's complicated, unfortunately.
I feel like what's meant to be means like what feels right to you.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Maggie, that could be what feels right to you right now.
In
or for
that moment.
Or whoever is coming into your life for that season or whatever.
You needed to learn a certain lesson.
Yeah.
So it was meant to happen, so you learned that thing.
Totally.
Or you were meant to go on a really terrible date, so you know what you don't ever want to do again.
Yeah.
And
then you appreciate the next great one.
Right.
Totally.
I am in agreement with you as far as like what meant to be means. For me, it is what feels right. Like for
Yeah.
what feels right for me may not feel right for you, or may not feel
Yeah.
right for you. That's why we all find somebody different.
Yeah.
But I think what's really important is also to figure out like what your deal breakers are, or
Yeah,
what really makes you
totally.
uncomfortable. Like,
Yeah.
because I was talking about this with somebody recently about like, I like all these things, and it's like, no, let's talk about what you don't like, because that's what's gonna make your skin crawl.
That's very true.
And like
True.
that's like the thing that you just can mark that person as a
Yeah.
no. Like everybody else, you might want to give a second chance to or a third chance to, but the people that literally do all the things you don't like,
Can't stand.
Yeah,
Then
and
it's not
know
gonna
what
work.
those. Please pay attention to what those things are, because you might have something on that list that's actually not that big of a fucking deal,
Right.
Yeah.
Or you might have something on your list of things that you really think you need to play the other role. Like, I need a guy that does this, but like, ask yourself really, like, is that going to give you happiness in the long run?
Yeah.
Or do
Will
you
it
think,
fulfill
like,
you?
maybe how do you know that? Like, if you, or sometimes it's not as easy to say like, I want this or that. Sometimes it's like just sort of know some big bullet points in your mind, but like be open.
Totally.
I
I
have
think
4.
it's the best way.
What are your 4?
I narrowed it down today actually.
Okay, what is it?
Ooh.
I know. This just in. My deal breakers are lack of ambition, unhealthy lifestyle, addiction, and negativity.
Okay, all of those things are
Are,
like,
like-
no questions.
Yeah, I feel like all of those would be my 4.
Yeah, because
Like,
everything
yeah.
else I feel like I can deal with that.
Yeah.
That's just like a quirk or
And
a
be
personality
open
thing.
to, like-
not like a fatal flaw that's gonna really piss me off every day.
Yeah. And if 5 years ago, again, being in the moment, but if someone were to say to me, you're going to end up with a guy like this, and it's my boyfriend right now, I would probably be like, really? Not like, ew, no, but I
But
would
you
be
just
like,
wouldn't think about it. Yeah.
Yeah, like maybe there's some things, some facts that you might list about him or his personality type that I would be surprised about. But like, you have to be in the moment to know if that's really something that you think
Yeah.
you need. I don't know. I think, and things change, like you said.
I think things change, and I
Yeah.
think we surprise ourselves. Like, we end up thinking we know ourselves so well, and then when we feel something that does feel right and we go with it, then we're like, okay, maybe like we judged ourselves wrong. And I think that happens a lot too.
Yeah, and I think that actually so your songs, you're inspired by love, and
Always.
obviously, and you are a really big, you are like really attached to the gay and lesbian community.
Yes.
And I feel like that kind of what we're saying kind of goes with that too. Like, if you're trying to pay attention to who you really are, like, don't be afraid. And I know it sucks
Absolutely.
to feel like you're going to get discriminated or judged based on how you feel, whether you're gay or straight or whatever. You've got to be confident in
Yeah.
whatever that is that makes it feels right for you.
Absolutely. And I think, like, with the Don't Give Up video,
Oh,
my
it's
goal.
so beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I just have chills from it.
Yeah.
It was my goal with that video. I wanted to create awareness about the transgender community, especially for kids, because, you know, when you're a teenager and when you're like 10 years old, shit is now so crazy. I can't even imagine. Like, with social media, it's already so hard enough.
Yeah.
Then when you're trying to figure out who you are, and then if you're struggling with your gender identity, like, that adds a whole other layer. And then on top of that,
Yeah.
like, you're being afraid to really express who you are because of what everyone else is going to say. And so I think there's so many things that people need to be more aware of and feel comfortable to talk about, because the more that happens, the more kids will feel it's okay to be who you are and express yourself.
Yeah.
And I was actually just reading an article today. Now more and more kids are feeling comfortable to express that because people are talking about it, and slowly and gradually it's becoming more accepted. And I think that needs to keep happening in order for kids to continue feel comfortable being who they are.
Yeah, and basically, I mean, that's a bigger issue than the general issue that we're talking about here, but it all comes back to like talk about it. If you're uncomfortable with something, maybe just say it.
Yeah.
If you're and get over the feeling, everyone has that feeling of like, I'm about to do something that's maybe out of my comfort zone, but then it's almost like once you do it,
Yeah.
are you afraid on that date that the guy's gonna like throw the glass of wine in your face? Smaller scale, but are you afraid that if you tell, you know, your sister that you're a lesbian
Yeah.
or you're gay, that they're gonna judge you? Like, all that's uncomfortable. If you're in
Yeah.
a relationship with someone and you're like, I don't want to be in this relationship anymore, but I don't want to break up. Nobody wants to
Yeah.
break up. Like, don't wait for
never
a
a
time
fun
where you're
thing.
like,
Right.
oh,
Absolutely.
maybe it's gonna be right tomorrow. Like, none
No.
of it's ever gonna feel
Yeah.
It's
good.
never a good time, to be honest. I mean,
Yeah.
it's never a good time,
Well-
to
In
do
that
something
situation.
uncomfortable.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
like, you never are going to feel like, today I really want to do something uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Today's the right
Don't
day
wait
for that.
Yeah.
Just know, let's be real about it. All of those
Pull that
things are
Band-Aid.
uncomfortable.
And it's the feeling after. That's what you
Yes,
have to remember.
that's
It's
what
like
you're
it
going
feels
for.
so good
Yeah.
after.
It's like you like release like 1,000,000 pounds.
It's like going to the gym.
Right.
I was just gonna say that. You're like, motherfucker, I really don't
You
want to do
hate
this.
yourself before, but after
then
you
after
feel
you're like,
$1 million
amazing.
or just tired.
Absolutely.
Or just, I like rarely feel tired after a work. It's almost like
Yeah,
I
I
need
know.
it to wake up. I'm
Absolutely.
Like, yeah. But I think it all comes down to like you bringing up a really good point. And for the gay and lesbian and transgender community, like it's a huge deal right now. And it's like we're coming into a time where it's the acceptance is happening.
Yeah.
It's such a beautiful thing.
At least in like major cities, like
Yeah.
obviously there's
We're
like
fortunate
certain
in LA and
Right.
in New York, but I mean, yeah, in a lot of other cities where it's not as accepting, it can be really scary, and I think it can be dangerous too. It can
Oh,
be
sure.
super dangerous, and that's why it's the more we talk about it and the more we're accepting of it, I think it'll promote people to just feel comfortable being who they are and accepting of others as well.
Yeah, I mean, when people don't, they aren't true to who they are, that's where like crazy things start happening.
it's hard.
It's hard to be yourself in risky situations.
Right. And
on
I-
a date, in
Yeah.
coming out, anything.
anything, but to tie it back to what's meant to be, like, I mean, I believe it to my core and like in a spiritual sense that like the stars will align, and if it didn't happen
Yeah.
now, it's because it's going to happen
Gonna
later.
happen, faith, yeah.
It's if it was meant to be at some point,
Yeah.
whether it's now or later, whatever it is. So if somebody feels that they need to be this other version of themselves, like that's what they feel, and that is meant to be for them, and they are meant to be this other person
Yeah.
that they're not letting out yet, but they're going to. And it's just, I think people are who they are. They like, it's the
Yes.
trusting your gut
Yeah,
thing too. And
absolutely.
so if in your gut you feel different in some way or uneasy or whatever it is, like talk about it or get help
Yeah.
and like talk to somebody about
Yeah.
it.
And it's hard too to know, like, I mean, as we grow up, there's so many times that I thought I was trusting my gut and I went with something and like I was wrong. And I think it's hard to, I think as the more we do it, the more we learn from ourselves and the more we,
Practice, yeah.
Yeah.
like anything, it's a muscle.
Yeah.
And you get better and better at it. And the only way to do that is to keep taking those chances. And it's okay to like fuck up and like make a mistake. That's like totally normal.
It's
Yeah.
hard to like trust your gut. That's hard to do.
A
'cause
gut
you're
is not
like-
a real thing. That's
and you're
why.
like,
Yeah.
am I being judgmental, or
Right.
Like this
am
weird
I like
energy that you're trying to try.
Yeah. Or like, am I going to regret making this decision? Like, sometimes it's hard to just be like, yeah, that feels like my gut, or that feels like I'm just like, I don't know what.
Or
am
if
I
you're like
just-
swayed by your head
Totally.
or
Yeah.
other things.
Yeah.
Okay, so like for instance, getting out of a bad date, tying that back around. Like if you're feeling like certain ways, and like I did, I felt like, man, this is uncomfortable. Like I really don't want to be here. But then I was like, shit, maybe like something will come out of this. Like I've heard stories where people like really don't like each other the
Yeah.
first couple of times, and then they're in love. And like maybe that's how it's gonna happen for me. But I had to trust my gut at that time and be like, there are several things this person is showing me
Yeah.
that are not in line with who I am. Like for this person to say he enjoys shopping, or like he would be like, oh, you don't go to the club, and I was like, just even people
There's
that
just
he
certain
say
things
the
that,
club?
yeah, and he also like, I should have never gone on this date because prior to which he texted me something about like first of all, he actually said to me, we should go to Wabi Sabi in Venice. I will oobs you there so you don't have to worry about driving. No person in my life abbreviates things or does it with the wrong letters.
Oh my god.
But if
UBZ. Like,
no, he did not.
yeah, and I should have just been like, oh, new phone, who dis?
Yeah.
Like, I can, like,
when you think about like wanting to like date and like you're like I want to be with a grown ass man, like that's not what a
and he's
grown ass
39.
man says.
He's
Good
39.
point.
No.
That doesn't come off like
No.
I'm going to have a mature
Yeah,
level
no.
conversation with you.
And then I went out with a guy who was like a year younger than me, and he was like the most mature, wonderful thing ever.
That's why you can't judge it.
That's
You just
what I
can't.
mean
Right.
by not being open. Like, if someone were to say to you, you're going to go out with this 39-year-old dude that's like this job, you'd be like, cool. Or you're going to go out with this other younger dude that's this. You'd be like,
Yeah.
But
Yeah, and I think part of what you're saying is like you can't be closed off to certain things
Yes.
because then you're also missing out on opportunity.
know
Right.
what's really important to you. Like, you can't be
deal
like
breakers.
a drug addict or
right.
whatever.
Like the main deal breakers, I think, are like, those are just, they're deal breakers. Literally, that's
Yeah.
what they are. But like, okay, so I am a heightist, and it's whatever it
she's
is.
a
what
height
it is.
supremacist. Even
So
though she's only 5'3".
okay, I'm 5'4". I lose an inch every time she
I
talks.
feel you. I'm 5 feet tall, so
Well, soon I'm going to be also. So
She might as well be.
Great. So I have a thing for taller guys for a variety of reasons. I feel like they can protect me from harm. I feel small and feminine. Like to
Yeah.
me, it's just manly. Like my family's all really tall. Like so that's what I'm used to as far
Yeah.
as like what men are to me. So while I understand that's like a superficial thing, it's something I need to get over. It's not like the person is a bank robber. Like, he might just be shorter. Like, I need to pick and choose my battles, and I think what's meant to be is that I end up with a good human.
Yes. But you do know, and then in all fairness, and we joke around about this, like, you can't just write someone off because they're short, whatever. You wouldn't do that. But
I might.
also,
I'm gonna try not
you
to.
are attracted to what you're attracted
Yeah.
to. It's just, so listen, if you are like, I just don't like the way that looks in my eyes, fine, that's your thing. That's a thing. But I think what we're trying to say is don't close off the idea
Absolutely.
to a guy that's this age or this height or this hair color because
Those are just details. They're
Yeah.
not like the characteristics
those
of the
are the
person.
things
Yeah.
that could surprise you.
Absolutely.
Leave room for the surprises and make sure you focus on the details of the things that you don't know about yourself. That's where your gut comes in. That's where we don't paint the red flags white, is
Yeah.
what we like to say. So if you are out with a guy and you're like blinded by the light because he's hot, and then he says red flag number 1.
Oops.
That's the deal breaker
Yes.
in the back of your mind, or close to a deal breaker in the back of your mind, and you're like painting it white because he's tall
And
and
handsome.
Right.
handsome. That's where
You're
like
setting
a
yourself up
bad
for
relationship.
disaster.
So those are the things in the moment where like, please pay attention to what's really important. And sometimes you're
Yeah.
wrong. Sometimes you think this is important, and a year after that
And then it
relationship,
doesn't
you're
matter
like,
anymore.
fuck.
Right.
Have
Yeah.
you ever like met guys who are so like heartbreakingly good looking, and then you get to know them and they're like fucking idiots,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden they're ugly?
Totally.
100%.
And
Crazy
the
how that
reverse.
like fucks with your mind.
Wait, can I tell you what makes them so ugly to me? Aside from just general like sleaziness and like whatever idiocracy, when they like the hot guys then follow like the Instagram models because they think they're gonna get that girl, and like out of the 692 people they follow, 500 are like naked girls,
Instagram, like,
and I'm like, why am I going on real dates with this person? Like,
Yeah.
Because then
obviously
it makes you
they,
think like
they don't
what-
live in this real world.
Yeah.
They want that.
Yeah, exactly.
and that is not even real. Like that's
Right.
it's
They
not
don't
real.
want
That's
you.
the thing. That's the problem. It's not about the naked girl. It's the fact that you're living in this non-reality,
Yeah.
like weird alternative
Like I
universe.
wonder how he would feel if you were following like 500 like Instagram people. Who
So
are, like-
insecure.
Like yeah, that
Yeah.
would totally fuck with him.
Especially because men are more insecure than they give off.
I think so.
So are you in a relationship?
I am in a relationship.
Okay, now tell us about that.
And how did you know it was meant to be?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a hard question for me. Right now it's meant to be.
Yeah.
And I think it's great, and I'm happy, and I try not to overthink things. I used to really overthink things like, oh my God, does this mean that like for the rest of our life, this and that? And I think so much of it has to be obviously in the moment, and you have to be smart about the future. Like, okay, in 5 years, is this going to line up? And it does. And I mean, I feel like it's meant to be because it makes me happy, and he's a great guy. And I think at the end of the day, that's most important to me is that they're a good person.
And
How did you guys meet?
Yeah, how did you meet?
We met at the gym. I can't
When
believe
you
I'm
were
talking
forcing yourself
about
to
this.
go there, and then you felt so
I
good
know.
after.
And then you left with a boyfriend.
What?
Yeah, I left with a boyfriend.
Like, did he come up to you?
Yeah, he did. So
See?
he
So
like
he was brave.
He was brave, and then like he chatted, and then like he friended me on Facebook. So we did have a couple like mutual friends that we knew at the gym.
And what was your first instinct when he walked up to you?
He's not the person I would normally go for.
See?
Yeah.
And I hope he's not listening to this, but he's the sweetest guy, and I was like, oh, he seems like someone I could be friends with. And then as I got to know him more, I'm like, okay, no, like he's like a really great guy, and I definitely surprised myself. And I remember in the beginning I maybe was a little hesitant, but I kept going with it, and I'm glad I did.
Because there was probably something in your gut that was saying,
Yeah.
these other
Yeah.
things on the surface, I'm telling myself is what I want and need. And whilst they're
Yes.
not unimportant, they're not the most important thing
Yeah.
because these other things are coming through. And it's just like what you said, when you go out with a really hot guy and they're dicks and then they're ugly, the
disgusting.
reverse happens for the other way. You might not
Absolutely.
see a guy like, oh, like here comes fucking Justin Timberlake walking through the room. But this guy, for whatever reason, there's something that's keeping you
Yeah,
in, and
totally.
then they become, because
Right.
of all these
Yeah.
other
They
important
reveal
things,
themselves to
they
you and-
become
Absolutely.
very attractive.
And I think there's something to be said, like when a guy just treats you really well and he's just a really nice person, I think you have to think twice before letting that go.
For
Yeah.
sure.
Listen, I still stand by the school of thought that if your skin does not crawl, give them a second chance.
I like that. it's, you know, you have to, people deserve second chances.
Also, it's
like especially
awkward.
nice people, because
Yes.
yeah, they do. I think they should get like the benefit of the doubt, or like the handicap or whatever. Like
Yeah.
in bowling, when you get the like, what are those
Bumper bowls.
They get that the first date because like they're nervous.
Yeah.
They don't know what to do.
And
They're just
also,
happy to be there.
Think about it. Like, this situation that you're putting yourself in is awkward. So, like, let it be awkward, and
Awkward,
don't be like,
yeah.
oh, it's awkward. Like, it doesn't feel right.
Don't
Like,
get in your head about it.
Exactly.
Right.
Just
Yeah.
let it feel a little awkward, because, like, you know, and we talk about this a lot, like, singer-songwriter here. Like, when people write lyrics and say, like, oh, yeah, I want you to make it feel like the first time. Like, they always say, let's make it feel like the first time.
Wait,
or
what
it's
song
like
is
the
that?
first time. All
Is
of the
that
love
like a
songs.
One Direction song?
All of them.
I don't know.
I am like, no, you don't want it to feel like the
Yeah,
first
the
time.
first
The
time
first
is
time's
fucking awkward.
horrible
Yeah.
and awkward. And then listen,
Someone should write a song
the
about
first
that.
time you
Yeah.
have sex with somebody, it's usually awkward and not that great. Are you then never think about the first time you
Yeah.
had sex with your boyfriend? You're like, not the same as a 700th. Like, it's
Or you don't
better
remember
now.
because you drank too much.
Yeah,
So it wouldn't be awkward.
I did, and maybe said some things that I wouldn't normally do and say the first time I had sex with my boyfriend after date number 7. And it's just saying it's different. It's awkward. I'm not going to write it off after that. Like, nope,
Yeah.
sorry, unless it's insanely on one end of the scale, like wretched.
Totally.
Like they take you to Restoration Hardware
Yeah.
Exactly. I'm just
like
saying,
that's just not cool.
and
Yeah.
then snap at you to
And I
carry their
think-
belongings.
And I think it's okay, yeah, like you said, in the beginning it's okay for it to be a little fucking
Yeah.
weird and a little awkward because
Yeah, you
it's
don't
not
know
gonna
each
be-
other.
Yeah, you
Yes.
don't know each other. But what drives me crazy is when people paint this like totally unreachable thing that they want.
Yes.
Like I have this friend, and I'm not gonna give any hint as to who it is. And he's the sweetest guy. He's intelligent. He's a doctor. Like he's amazing.
it's you, Kevin.
I'm
just kidding.
Kevin?
And
I don't know. Oh.
he's such a great guy, but he always dates these girls who, like, they're just like, you just would never picture them together. And they
Like,
usually,
why?
because
What do you
they're
mean?
like a little fake, and then
Okay.
and he's this really smart guy, and I'm always wondering like, how on earth do you relate to these girls? And they're always like 15 years younger. They're fake. And I mean, I'm sure they're super nice, but it's just everyone from the outside can tell it's never gonna last, and they end up wanting to like either date him for his money or like something else. And he has been single, like he should not be single because he's an amazing guy, but it's just not working.
It's like so when you
He
see
should be listening to the show and
well,
get some
yeah,
hints.
that's
I
the
know.
thing to me. It's like,
needs
so
to date a real
you
girl.
are picking somebody to either fill a void or for it to help an insecurity or something, because you're going after these women that are, you know, some people go after unavailable people because they don't really want to be vulnerable. Some people go after, like, there's always some psychological
Yeah.
reason. He's got one, and if he's dating the same type
yeah,
of girl
if it's a
all
pattern,
the time,
that's
Literally
the
the same type
definition
of
of
girl.
insanity.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, that is something that at that point you've got to be a little introspective and self-reflective, and
Yeah.
you've got to be able to look at yourself and be like, what's the common
What's-
denominator
yeah,
here?
what's happening
Because there's
here?
also, again, we're talking about what's meant to be. Let's all know that this is a hard process and you're going to make mistakes and shit, but like also don't victimize yourself.
Yeah.
Like, it's everybody. It's this city. Guys are
Oh my
assholes.
God,
Like, I
yes.
can't do that either.
No,
Take
absolutely not.
responsibility.
You met your guy here. You met your guy here.
Yeah, true.
Apparently, it can happen.
It can totally.
And where is your guy from?
He is from Jersey.
So he's an East Coast guy.
Yeah.
like
so
it.
which means he was so happy that the Eagles won last night.
I can't talk about that.
No, we're Patriots fans,
I'm
so
sorry.
as we both cry.
Oh no!
That's a nice sweater you have there.
look,
It looks
everyone.
quite large for you, though.
Well, it's not
It looks
mine.
really
Oh.
comfy. Is it your
Guys,
man's?
I bought it for my boyfriend for Christmas. You guys,
Was he heartbroken?
Tom Brady. Listen, no, he wasn't actually. He was okay.
Yeah.
He was
Well,
okay.
it's not like they haven't won before.
I
They'll
mean,
win
yeah.
again.
He only has 5 fingers, and he has a ring for each one.
Yeah.
Right.
So let's
and
just
and
Can't feel too
honestly,
bad for 'em.
the Eagles hadn't won yet. So
Yeah.
like throw them a bone. This year they get
throw
the
them
year.
a bird bone and let them have it. Next year, we've got next year. Okay.
And I have an
Always
outfit
next
now
year.
because I bought one for this year. I got a cute Patriots.
oh, you did.
What's it called? A thing that you're wearing?
onesie?
No, a
Bodysuit.
bodysuit.
Wait, did you get it from Forever 21?
did.
have
My
the
friend
same
just
one.
I think bought
I
one.
wore that yesterday.
I did too.
We have the same one. We were
course we
twins.
did.
That's
But
the nice
not
thing.
together.
You can wear it again now, like probably every year.
I know. I'm going to. I mean, it fits funny, but I'll wear it again.
It's weird, but I made it work.
It's like it doesn't have the snaps either. It's like you have
Oh,
to take the whole
really?
thing off. To
It's
pee.
like a bathing suit.
Yeah, it's
but like
odd.
low in the back, so you can't wear a bra. It's weird.
It's like larger than
But
you'd expect
guess
it to be.
what though? It looks cute.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we are Patriots fans because it's cute. And
Yeah.
also,
And you
by
can
the
wear
way,
it again.
speaking of like judging people, I think you have to be good looking to be on that team.
Yeah.
Danny Amendola, have you
I
guys
love Danny
seen
Amendola.
him?
Okay, I don't follow like the names. Like
Well.
I don't know like.
Okay, Olivia Culpo's boyfriend.
And they are like the cute. Anyway, they're all
Really?
hot. And also,
It's a whole
Tom
other
Brady
level.
is from my hometown, so I can be guilty by association because of my boyfriend. But this is another thing too. Listen, also when you're dating somebody, like, and you're getting to know somebody, think about like don't be closed off to like, oh, this guy likes doing these things or doing these things. Sometimes those things can become fun
good?
to you.
Yeah.
I always have enjoyed sports, and I'm like I have been an athletic person, played sports in high school and as a kid
Yeah.
and all that. So I know I like that. I love watching football games with him.
See,
He's
so it's
into
a
the
good
team, so
thing.
I'm like, I'm into the team now. It's fun.
Yeah.
And
Well,
it's
I feel
fun.
like it's like he includes you, and
Yes.
like his passion is like inspiring, and like you
Totally.
guys like you introduce each other to different things. Speaking of introducing to different things, so you just to go back to you and your music, you do some collaborations.
I
Yes.
do.
And like with some DJs, and like you were
Yeah.
just like all over the place writing some material. Like
Yeah. Talk about that a little.
especially because you talk about love and stuff in your music. So tell us everything.
Well, I love the DJ thing. So when I moved here a few years ago. I was performing at like this event, and I was playing just piano and singing. And this DJ Schiller from Germany, he happened to be in LA. He felt inspired by Palm Springs, and he wanted to write his album in the desert. So he asked if I would like write some songs for him. So we got together, we wrote, and then he ended up releasing the album. And it was so fun because I was able to just write how I normally write, but it was over like a totally different style of music. Like he's like very electronic.
Right.
And I really loved that challenge, and I loved that I was like able to like dip my toe in like a different kind of water.
Now, how quickly did you feel like, okay, this guy just came up to me and offered me this thing? How did you trust yourself in that moment to be like, okay, and then on top of it all, to go for something that you don't normally think you would like, almost like
Well,
dating? Like,
I
how
know.
did you do that?
Well, with music, I feel like it doesn't matter. I'm always gonna like. I love music so much, and especially in LA, like you have to really be prepared for different opportunities, and you always have to like go for it. And so I was like, I have no choice. I have to try. And like the worst thing that could have happened was like we write the song and like it sucks, and like it's not that big of a deal.
And then
know.
you just know for next time or whatever,
Yeah.
or
Well,
it's a
and
learning
that's the thing.
experience.
It was so scary. Like the first session, I'm like, oh my God, I've never written like for electronic music before. And he's from Germany, so like there's like kind of a little bit of a language barrier. He was pretty cool.
But still, there's all these things
was all
coming.
these
up-
It's
things.
definitely
Yeah.
a different world.
Totally a different
all
world.
these fears flashing through your
Yeah,
mind.
like I'm always used to like writing with someone who like plays guitar or piano, and all he has is like this like electronic thing where like you're pressing buttons and shit, and I'm like,
Yeah.
this is so fucking crazy. But it worked out, and then I like fell in love with it, and now it's like something that I also love to do.
See?
So what can people like check out from you right now? You have "Don't Give Up," which is a
Yes.
beautiful
Thank
song,
you.
guys. You should watch the video,
you.
listen to it, but also watch the video.
Thank
Yeah.
you. I just released a song with Julian Calor from Tiesto's label Musical Freedom. It's called Runaway. I wrote that song in Amsterdam like a year and a half ago. And then Julian stumbled across the song, and he like changed it with his production and like did this amazing thing around it. And that's the song that's out now.
Amazing. Well, and your EP is called "Worthy," right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Why "Worthy"?
Because I want people to listen to music, to that EP, and I want them to feel inspired and empowered, and I want them to know that they're worthy.
Man, how did you get so into
Yeah.
like supporting people and these?
I mean, if
things they
that's
might
a
be going
message
through?
you're
Yeah.
trying to tell, I could see why it felt natural to attach it to that particular.
Well, I mean, I think, like you said before, we're all inspired writing songs. I mean, we're all inspired by love, and I especially always write songs about love. And I've been writing songs for so long, and I feel like I was like, I want to try and write a song about love, but have it mean something different. And that's when we wrote "Don't Give Up." And then when I was starting to think about what I want the video to be about, I really wanted it to stand for something. And I think especially with kids, in being in that community, I really wanted to have like a voice for that, and I wanted to try and create awareness for transgender community.
I
Well,
think it's
love
great.
is love is love.
Love is love. Like the
Absolutely.
message can be for anybody, but I like that you found a very specific way
Yeah,
to tell it.
visually it's for that.
Yeah.
But sonically, like you can listen to that song, like either you broke up with your boyfriend or like
I
you know,
was listening
anything.
to it and watching the video, and like I also like looked up the lyrics. I was just like, I want to like understand what the song is about, and it could be, if you didn't see the video, it could just be for like
could be anything.
For sure.
any
The video
relationship.
is so strong, but like it's about it because it
Love.
could be about anything
Yeah.
because it's about love. Because guess what? It's all the same for everybody.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
But some
Absolutely.
people do have more challenges than others to express their love.
Of
which is
course,
sad.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we all need to know, like, don't have hate in your heart.
Yeah.
We're all doing the same thing.
Right.
Like, what's the difference?
It's so frustrating because we all know that deep down, like in the future, this won't be a thing.
yeah. So like, just
Just
get
like
over it.
like slavery, okay?
Yeah,
Like they didn't think at the
absolutely.
time, I'm sure, that would be abolished, but like it was. Just like if women got the right to vote, now
Yeah,
there might be
and-
a woman president at some point.
Exactly.
Like this stuff is gonna go away. You will get used to it.
have
crazy
you not
people.
paid attention to history? Just get the fuck over it.
Get the
and
book,
be
start
in the
reading
now.
it.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's absolutely crazy to me that just a few years ago they legalized gay marriage.
I know. To me, I'm
I
like,
still think about that. I'm like, to think like 6 years
took
ago
that
that
long.
wasn't like
Right.
people couldn't get married.
how do you even wake up and think that's not something
Yeah.
that someone
Like
can
I
do?
feel like we should apologize to the people of the country and just say sorry. We're so slow.
Absolutely.
Sorry.
Absolutely.
Sorry in general. It's going to take us a long time to
It
pass
takes
that
a
law.
while,
Yeah.
but at least it's happening. Like in Australia, just a few months ago, they just
Yeah.
passed the law.
Yeah, I
Isn't
know
that
it's
crazy?
crazy. To me, that's been something that I've never understood.
You can't tell somebody who to love and not love. That is just so bizarre.
Why does
I
it matter?
know.
Also, why does it matter to you?
Right.
Like, is
Who
that really
cares?
fucking affecting your life?
Yeah.
Like,
And also, if you're gonna make it a religious thing, and like it's like those people shouldn't be together, well, also you shouldn't be judging. I'm pretty sure that's
Yeah.
one of those laws
Yeah,
too.
hey, what about I'm sorry, isn't Jesus like, hey, I love everyone, that's my bag? Like now you're doing the thing that I'm saying not to
not
do.
to
Right.
do. And I think, I mean, why all this energy on trying to like be negative about shit?
Fear.
Yeah.
Fear.
Fear of the unknown. People don't understand it, so they don't want it.
Yeah.
It's
Or it
just,
says something about them because there's also a lot of closeted people that are the
Yes.
finger
Yeah.
pointers.
yes, true.
Which is even sadder. Anyway,
More sad. I know,
we're
for
gonna
sure.
turn things up a notch and play a really fun game.
We are, but really quick before we do that, we have one question for you that's
Yes.
like a good one. We ask this to everyone.
Yeah, take
And
a
I think
drink.
you should
You
ask
should.
this. You should ask this on your date. This
I
is a
should.
good date question. If you took a shot of alcohol for every bad decision you have made in your life,
God.
would you be sober, buzzed, or drunk?
I would definitely be drunk. Let's be real.
Hey, but that's all about,
We
and I
appreciate
like
your
that.
honesty.
No, I like that because we're talking about this right now. Like, don't be afraid. Don't make a fear-based decision.
Yeah.
Know it's gonna feel awkward, and be open to what. Like, you wouldn't have the songs that you have right now had you been like, this guy doesn't really speak my language. This song's not really my type of music. I usually write with a guitar. Not doing this with
Yeah,
you, dude.
right.
And now look.
Yeah.
So.
Thanks.
You have to make a few bad decisions along the way to
Yeah.
learn
Or just
from
be
them.
open. Bad
Yeah.
decisions are also just being open to what you wouldn't expect.
Totally. And I think the more you take those chances, like when it happens in a positive way, like when you take a chance and it works out, that's going to outweigh like when it goes wrong.
Exactly.
So I think it's fine.
And that's how you know what's meant to be.
It
Yeah.
is. And now
Being
we're gonna
open.
play this super fun.
We're going to play a game really quick because we've been talking about like what to pay attention to when you're like getting into the throes of a relationship, whether it's like dating or whatever stage it is at.
Yeah.
And in case you're just a little confused or you need a refresher or like a pop quiz, we are going to dish a list of behavior styles or behavior
Okay.
things out. You need to tell us if there's situations that would have you stay or that would have you go in a
Okay.
game that we call Don't Fall Into That Same Old Song and Dance. Okay, so we're
And
going
so
to...
in a relationship.
or
You're-
dating,
you're
or
like-
just
yeah,
first
just
date,
like
anything.
anything.
Okay.
And
You
someone,
and someone else.
And
Okay.
someone does these things. What would you like? Are you like, that's a red flag or a white flag?
Okay.
Like, nah.
But we're gonna have you use the term stay or go
Okay.
because obviously, if you go, it's not meant to be, and if you stay, it was.
Okay. Yeah.
Also, just grab your drink. Because
And also, this might, and there's no right or wrong answer. This is like for you, what you
Yeah,
feel.
okay.
So
Yeah.
these are kind of like arbitrary things, potentially, or maybe not. So someone that rolls their eyes at you during arguments.
Stay. I do the same thing.
Yeah, you're just
Oh.
like, that's a form of expression. Okay.
I actually can't control my eyes. They just like. It's like,
That's what I'm
"Oh."
saying. It might not mean that. Okay, that's fair.
Okay.
Let's stay.
They become friends with your friends.
Stay.
Okay.
I think that could be a good thing. They are, speaking of friends, they are friends with their ex.
And it's weird.
Go.
Okay.
Jen.
Sorry, I had to add it. Otherwise, it could have been totally
It could be
fine.
Well, no,
complicated.
because somebody could be like, that's okay for me. And someone else could be like, that is not okay
But I know,
for
but I
me.
had to throw in the weird because you need to know it's weird so
Yeah.
you can make a real
No,
fair.
Is it always weird?
No, but in
Yeah.
this one scenario where we gave
would
you
be
that,
weird.
Yes.
it's weird.
Okay.
Go.
I had to discern.
Yeah.
Okay. They compliment you on the things that you happen to be most proud of in yourself.
Stay.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously.
What about something like this? They constantly tell you how perfect you are.
Stay.
See, for me, I would be like, that's a lot of pressure. Like,
I would feel like it's disingenuous because I'd be like, are you just saying it because it's a line? Like, I'm obviously
Maybe
not
they just
perfect.
like- yeah.
yeah.
Like, why are you saying this weirdness? Just
Maybe.
say I'm cool or
Yeah.
say you like me.
Listen,
You
maybe
like
somebody
me.
wants to be told that all the
Or
time.
tell me
so-
what you think is perfect about me.
Tell me what you want, what you really, really want.
Exactly. And I'll tell you about this one. What about they want to have sex more or less than you? Just not the same amount as you.
Stay.
Yeah.
Because you're like, whatevs?
I feel like that there's always like
An imbalance.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I also feel like it depends on like moods. That's a hard
Yeah.
one to say. How about this? They cheated on their last partner, and that's why their relationship ended. Double whammy. You were the person that they cheated on their partner with.
stay.
Why?
Because I don't know. This can be such a deep story. So
Yeah.
what if that person was just really unhappy? I mean, I feel like there's no excuse for cheating.
But I hear what you're
But
saying. It's not
There's
that
a
black and
nuance.
white.
There's a nuance there.
I do know people that have like, yeah, it was like a little shady and like things
Mm-hmm.
overlap, but they're really happy and it's years later.
Well,
And
then
again,
it was
yeah,
meant
And
to
it was
be.
meant to
Then
be.
it was meant to be.
Okay,
Like,
what
yeah.
about if the person follows a lot of Instagram models?
Leave, go.
Yeah, you think that's like a red
Flee.
flag. Okay.
Flee immediately. Hit
Um,
eject.
What about if they don't like dogs?
Go.
Yeah. Any animal that you don't like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, what about if they just go like missing for days at a time?
Oh, go.
Like no contact, radio
no.
silence.
Yeah.
That's hard to.
That's weird.
Weird. I agree.
Like, who does that?
Okay, I'm gonna do one more. If you have another one, I have one. They Instagram story at least once a day, so it could be more.
I mean, maybe stay. Depends on what their Instagram says.
Yeah.
Like I feel like if they're doing it for business or they happen to be a funny person, but if they literally document every piece of
Oh,
food
then
they
I
eat,
don't like
come
or
on.
they like in
Yeah.
their head think they're like a social media
Like
person,
sometimes
like, you're
I
a guy,
watch
stop
these
it.
people and I'm just like, I wonder if it's just that you like looking at yourself.
That's where
in the
I get
camera.
concerned.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's when I'm like, no,
Yeah.
I couldn't do that.
Like listen, girls do it if they're insecure and they like the ears and things that you
Yeah.
can put on
I
yourself.
can't.
But like when a guy does it, I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Oh no,
It's weird.
No.
It's weird for sure.
He's
yeah.
probably crying too. Like
All
I
right.
just.
All right. So
that is our game.
yes,
Thank
that
you
is-
so much
Thank you for playing.
playing.
And remind
Thanks.
everyone where they can find you.
You can find me allaboutmaggie.com, Maggie, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter at allaboutmaggie.
And that's where, and they can find all your songs
Everything
and things like
is
that
there.
there. Okay,
All the
great.
things.
I'm on Spotify.
All about
and
her.
iTunes.
All
Yeah.
about Maggie on
Exactly.
all of the social medias. And don't forget to tune in to our show next week for our guest, former Bachelorette star Diggy Moreland and Hillary Novell, founder of the Style Club.
Can't wait, guys. We will see you next week. And don't forget to follow us on all the social media platforms at Complicated Show. And where can everyone follow you?
You can follow me at Lauren Leonelli on all of the socials and my website.
And you can follow me at Jennifer Golden. That is Jennifer with one N and one F, despite the people that deliver my mail to me thinking it has two F's sometimes.
So weird.
So weird. So anyway, guys, we will see you next week.
All right.
Love you long time.
Cheers.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.